right underneath of him. I hit him really, really low where I shot him.
What'd you shoot him for?
I had on 30, but I aimed it.
No, he's 40. He was 40 all day.
I can't believe this. If he walks any further, I can shoot.
Just hang on. You can come right down this trail. Sorry.
All I needed was 4 more steps.
I know.
And my season is over.
No cell service, I'm sure.
No,
back here.
none at all.
Let's rock.
We're in Ohio, getting to know Candice Woods. Candice is a mother. Candice is a wife. Candice is a full-time nurse. Candice is also a hunter. And she is dressed to kill.
Yeah, you got it.
Did she?
So cool.
Yeah, she got the leaf.
Yeah.
Oh, that counts. We'll give her that one. All right, Candice, you're the
Good
winner.
job, Candice.
My name is Candice Woods, and I am a mother of 2. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. I work as a nurse, case manager at a really small community hospital, and when I'm not doing all of those things, I'm hunting.
We're in the tree, just hanging in, hoping it happens.
Candice's last name fits her well as she practically grew up outdoors in the woods. Her dad was an avid outdoorsman and laid the foundation of what she loves today. Her husband Tim, however, put the bow in her hand. Now with a family of her own, she still loves to hunt, but does not get into the woods as much as she would like, especially having a full-time job, which she loves.
Nursing kind of just happened for me. It was one of those things I fell into the program by chance, but then I loved it. Being a nurse is a lot of who I am, and I think part of my personality just makes me an even better nurse because I really enjoy helping people. And truth be told, it's a rewarding thing for me. I get more out of the people that I help, I think, than I actually help them sometimes.
Many hunters spend countless hours chasing whitetails, but when you're a full-time mom and a full-time nurse, hunting can be a little more challenging.
Candice is a nurse, and she's like our mother hen. She's all warm and fuzzy and motherly.
When you're truly passionate about something, you always seem to find the time. Scouting and hard work can help in one's success. On top of all her responsibilities, Candice spends time in the field and takes the time to see what deer are showing up on her trail cameras.
Slip it to the left, slip it to the right, slip it up and down, slip it right around. Tonight.
Right, it's got
Tonight, slip it to the
Dressed to Kill is brought to you in part by
Not a good blood here in the snow.
Dead Ringer Broadheads. There will be blood.
That's a good joke.
Good job. That was fun.
It's morning. It's November 9th. We're on the timber. We've got a pond right behind us. We're kind of butted up against it. Our plan is to call a little bit, see if we can get them coming in. They got to come around the pond to our upwind side. You know, it's the second week in November. We don't have a lot of time. Tim's got hunters in camp. We just snuck in here. We're gonna sit a couple hours and do what most hunters do. We're gonna pray for the best. I see something. Yeah, buck.
As the buck gets closer, Candice gets ready. This buck is searching for a hot doe while Candice calls 50 yards away. With no doe in sight, the buck continues to use his nose and walks away.
So close. Good deer. By the time he got inside of 45 yards, I couldn't shoot through the limbs and stuff, but that's exactly what we wanted to happen. I just couldn't get him close enough where I needed him to through my shooting lane, but that's why you hunt, to see a deer like that and then get that jackhammer feeling inside of your chest. Well, we're back at it today. Today is November 10th. We had that great encounter yesterday. There were a few does that blew at us on our way in, but it's that time of year where you're not going to kill one sitting on the couch. So hopefully we'll get some movement here shortly and see what happens.
The thing about Ohio weather is it's as unpredictable as your mother-in-law on Christmas. You never know when the crazy is going to come out. Moments after Candice gets set up in the stand, the wind makes a change for the worst. And worse yet, a 10-point shows up on the scene.
Not how I wanted this morning to go. Our wind is supposed to be blowing out of the south. I'm getting packed up, ready to go. We're gonna go slip into another stand. I've got my bow all put up and arrow off the rest, and look over and there's a nice buck standing. I don't know if he smelled us or just decided to go the other way, but regardless, it's not exactly how you want your morning to go.
Dress to Kill is brought to you in part by Dead Ringer Broadheads. There will be blood. Dress to Kill is brought to you by Dead Ringer. There will be blood. Luminoc. Know where your arrow goes. Matthews. Catch us if you can. Hunter Safety Systems. Saving lives is what we do. And Bushnell Footwear. A lighter, faster breed of footwear.
We're in here for our afternoon, evening hunt. We're gonna sit here, we're sitting over a food plot. This food plot is kind of nestled back in on some bedding, and there's still a cornfield out here that hasn't been cut. so they feel pretty secure. We're hoping tonight they'll either be in here feeding or just catch something cruising. Either way.
The rest of the day, Candice has a few close encounters, but nothing worth a second look. On the bright side, there is deer activity, and that is enough to give Candice some hope. Well, at least hope that something bigger will show up. There is an old saying, desire is the root of all suffering. If that's the case, then this good old girl from Ohio is feeling the hurt.
Well, that's good. We've seen 3 deer total so far. We still have plenty of light left.
The bucks seem to be getting bigger, but not much better. Candice has yet to see anything she likes, and the same goes for the broken rack buck that spots her. He may have half a rack, but he still has a whole brain. This buck heads for the hills. The next few weeks, Candice continues hunting with several encounters, but no shooters. Something must be done to make sure she doesn't have a repeat of last year. Now, I know you have heard the definition of insanity. I won't go into it, but let's just say this young lady doesn't fit the bill.
He's lucky he doesn't have much in the rack department. Yeah, we're doing something completely different tonight. We're heading into the blind. Farmers cut this cornfield the last time we were in here. We're gonna sit here and give it a try. Our wind it's a little bit marginal, but well, we're not gonna kill one at home, so let's go.
It's getting late in the season, and Candice decides to change gears. She heads to a ground blind sitting on a freshly cut cornfield, hoping that a hungry doe will bring in a nice buck.
We're just getting settled in here. I took a couple of vacation days yesterday. I was sicker than a dog, couldn't go anywhere. So we're gonna try to take advantage of this today. Just getting set up, making sure everything's right. The last thing we want to do is be caught by surprise.
It's not long before the field comes to life with button bucks and does grazing in the corn. While Candice passes the time watching young bucks, an 8-pointer makes its way onto the scene. Act 1 has served up this little guy. Candice hopes Act 2 will yield something larger.
Watching this little button buck. He's been turning, looking at the ditch. Quite some time we were hoping the buck we were after is going to pop out, but it's just a little 8-point. Before, when the button buck first popped out into the field, we heard this serious growl. I'm not convinced that 8-point made that sound, so we'll be sitting on pins and needles waiting to see what happens here.
Candice has been more than patient this year, and this deer really puts her to the test. All she can do is wait and hope that the 10-point makes its way a little closer to her blind. Unfortunately, fate would have other plans for Candice.
Well, I'm sitting here holding my bow, waiting for the deer to edge this way, and our landowner just pulled in his driveway, which isn't that far off the back end of this field. And the deer just cleared the field, all of them. So I think that's gonna be it for the night. We'll sit here and wait and see. I hope my 10 comes back.
Dress to Kill is brought to you by Realtree, family, friends, and the outdoors. She Outdoor Apparel, Her adventure starts here. Dough Girls Scent Control Cosmetics. Never sacrifice the products that make you feel like a woman. World-class artistry. Award-winning lifelike taxidermy for the discriminating sportsman. And Colby Lindsay Photography.
We've got two systems making their way in here, one from the west, one from the south. As this continues.
So far, Candice has had a rough year and time is running out. The weather has taken a turn for the worse, but she is preparing for the best. It may be too cold to practice outside, but hey, that's what living rooms are for, right?
Get a little practice in tonight. It is much too cold to be practicing outside.
Let's go.
We're in here sitting on a cut cornfield. It's December 30th. Our season actually goes till February 3rd. Sometime around Groundhog's Day. And we still have a little bit of time, but we're feeling the pressure because we're really, get to hunt maybe one day during the week, mostly on the weekends. Today's Sunday. There's a good snow. We had probably total 8 to 9 inches, and then we got a couple more inches night before last. So the deer have been moving. They're still hitting this cut cornfield hard. There's a ton of sign out here. Should be a good night. Well, it's only 3:30. We've already got deer in the view. I got it just before you smashed your head.
Why is it here?
To go ahead and get down on my knees. I'll probably stay like this the rest of the night. It's easier for me to shoot and better for me to stay out of the sun. It's nice to see deer out here with all these eyeballs. I have to stay pretty still.
Candice knows this might be her last chance to bag a buck. At this point, she is hoping, praying, and waiting. Shoot him out of this window. And then he turned around. He was a little bit quartering too. Just tiny, tiny bit, but I just didn't want him to get away from me. Seasons come and go for all hunters. One year may be a failure, but the next could be a success. For Candice, her 2012 season ended on a good note.
That is a good buck. I've been waiting a long time. I finally got an arrow and one. He is good. Nice and heavy. He's got a couple little stickers glued on at his bases. That is a good deer. He is a good deer. I'm really, really appreciative of this deer, especially. He may not be the biggest deer on this farm, and I know that. But I had a really tough season last year, had a lot of opportunities at good deer, just couldn't get it to come together. You know, and it's a little bit tricky for us to get in the woods anyway, you know, with the kids and both of us having other full-time jobs. I think that the year that we had last year, not being able to fill my tag, I learned so much more than I would have, you know, if I had just filled it on the first couple of tries. So I think I became a better hunter, and I became a lot more appreciative of how hard it is and how much work goes into getting a buck on the ground. You know, sometimes people get lucky, but sometimes people have to work really hard. And I sure worked hard for this one.